Namaste. Welcome to today's program. Greetings to all the health seekers and Gandhi philosophy enthusiasts from all over the world. So this is the 15th webinar of the 48 webinar webathon series. So we started this program on 2nd October on the day of Gandhi Jayanti, and this will be culminating on 18th November on the day of Naturopathy Day. So to know about Gandhian perspectives on the determinants of public health, we have eminent personalities from all over the world to speak on different topics, which will enlighten you in different dimensions. Also, along with this, we do have bhajans every day. We do have Gandhi stories, Gandhi Kada every day. And there will be a short talk on vitality, which will open your visions into different dimensions of vitality. So let me remind you that this is a totally interactive session. So I request you to post your comments or queries in the comment box so that you can get your doubts cleared in the session itself. So let us start today's program with bhajan. Today's bhajan is given by Anjali Jadia from the Bureau of Outreach and Communication, New Delhi. So a prayer without heart is a waste of time. So let us open our heart to today's bhajan.
की शक्ति देना मन विजय करे दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे मन की शक्ति देना मन विजय करे दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे हमको मन की शक्ति देना सच कदम भरे झूठ से बचे रहे सच कदम भरे दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे हमको मन की शक्ति देना मन विजय करे दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे हमको मन की शक्ति देना
delightful breakfast for our soul. Let us move into the next session, that is the Gandhi Katha. So this Gandhi Katha is delivered by our Director of NIN, Professor Dr. K. Satyalakshmi. So let us move into this world of Gandhi. Only a story can take us into a different world. No magic can do it. So let us move into this world of Gandhi through this Gandhi Katha.
Namaste, friends. Today I brought an interesting that Mahatma Gandhi had with his physician. This is written in Louis Fisher's Mahatma Gandhi, His Life and Times, written in 1953. So, in this book, he elaborates Mahatma Gandhi's commitment to nature cure and how he resisted taking penicillin injection. So, when Mahatma Gandhi was resisting taking penicillin injection, the physician said, "You will recover in 3 days if you take this injection. Otherwise, it will take 3 weeks." Gandhiji said, "All right, I am in no hurry." The doctor said, "But you may infect others." Gandhiji said, "Okay, in that case, you give them penicillin." So that is how Gandhiji resisted taking penicillin injection and continued with his own nature cure treatments. Then one day the physician was talking to Gandhi in a lighter vein. He said, "If all sick people simply went to bed, they would get well." Gandhiji cautioned the doctor, saying that, "Please don't say this aloud. You will lose all your patients." So, that is the way Mahatma Gandhi learned the nature's way of getting cured all by itself. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, madam, for this beautiful story. As every day we do have a talk on vitality. So let us today listen to this enlightening short talk on vitality given by Dr. Jyoti.
Hello, good morning, all. As we all know, this year's theme for the Naturopathy Day celebrations is nurturing vitality through naturopathy. In the last few sessions, we have been discussing about one of the most important principle in the nature care philosophy is that our bodies are made up of 5 elements like air, fire, water, earth, and space. We have also learned how to nourish ourselves or our bodies and our vitalities with the element air and also with the element fire. So today here we are going to discuss about the element water. So how we are going to nourish ourselves with the element water? So that can be done by sipping few watts of water in the morning to start your day, and that is to gently awaken your system by drinking clean and pure water, which is untreated by the chemicals. So that is like fresh spring water or fresh well or the rain water. And thirdly, by periodic freshwater baths, like being in the river, streams, or the waterfalls. Or it can also be done by engaging yourself in some of the rejuvenating hydrotherapy baths, like hip bath or immersion baths, and so on. So water is actually is an elixir of life, and it is said that better than like compared to any other medicine, water is the best remedy to treat the human ailments. Water actually cleanses your body from within. It eliminates the toxin. It reduces heat, pain, swelling, burning in your body. It also strengthens and calms your nervous system. So what type of water do we drink? Do you drink a fresh spring water or rain water or the fresh water from the well? Or do you drink water which is basically treated with the chemicals like the tap water? Or do you drink bottled water like RO water? Or do you actually drink a very polluted water? Answer to these questions will help you to assess the quality of water that you are drinking and thereby its impact on your vitality. Water not only affects your body, but also it affects your mind. So that could be positively or negatively. Its calming, stilling, distressing properties bring a sense of tranquility to human beings. Being in the water gives you a sense of well being and also helps to reduce your stress. Good and the pure, clean water will definitely impact your vitality positively. On the other way, the chlorination of water, impurities of water by the heavy metals will cause toxicity in the human body. So we all should strive to keep and to maintain the purity of our bodies by keeping it clean from within with this element water. And this will definitely help our vitality and our health to function at the optimum levels. So here we finish the discussion with the element water. And in tomorrow's session, we are going to discuss about the element earth. So stay tuned with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. Next, I would like to tell you in detail about our department, one of the department in our institute. It is called Department of Mind Body Medicine. And it is totally connected with today's speaker, because she is one of the main reason why this department is existing in our institute. So 3 years back, Dr. Preeti Kohli, she came for giving a lecture on past life regression therapy in our institute. And I was lucky enough to volunteer for the demonstration. And my life took a U-turn from there. I could get into a lot of healing through the process. I did a lot of workshop with her, and she's a personal mentor also for our department. She was kind enough to guide us into this light of this new therapy of mind body medicine, where we use a lot of tools to remove the negativity from the mind. That is the negative thoughts, negative emotion, and the negative belief. And by doing that, healing will flow naturally, and we will regain the natural state, that is health. So let me tell you a bit about our speaker. So Dr. Preeti is a consulting homeopath. She's working since 20 years in this field. And since past 11 years, she's working as a transformational coach. So she's currently serves as a director and a founding member of the AHA movement. Through her work, she has touched thousands of lives. And one of that life is mine, who completely transformed my life. And she have completed almost 190 workshops, healing workshops in various alternative healing therapies. She is an expert in many alternative healing therapies like past life regression therapy, inner child healing, rebirthing breathwork, transgenerational healing, and many more. So she also volunteers to teach meditation for children at schools through Soul Science Foundation. Let me welcome you, ma'am, to today's session so that you can enlighten more souls. You can help a lot of people. Please, you may take over.
Introduction. Thank you so much, Dr. Satyalakshmi, because it's you who's really given me this opportunity to first come into NIN and really share that very first session. And it's your open-mindedness and vision which has really brought out this department. So congratulations for the amazing work that's happening at NIN. And thank you so much, everybody who's joining us here today. And I'm thrilled to be here, particularly to be talking on this topic, emotional mastery. So friends, what I'd like to do is I'd like to share initially about my journey and how really I started doing any of this. I'm a homeopathic physician originally, and treating so many people with the various illnesses. And I'm sure that you're aware stress was connected with the physical ailment that the person was developing. It's almost like the body was really speaking some symptoms that their mind was really not seeing. So we could see it, but somewhere the patient was still not seeing it. And that started leading me. I was myself into meditation for quite some time. I started really seeing other ways of really bringing that awareness to the person, because if the person was able to see what they needed to see, very likely the illness would not be then there. Very likely they would not need those kind of symptoms to communicate to them what they were seeing. So as I started working, I also started seeing that there was so much stress that would actually be responsible for manifesting the illness. Now, even modern medicine accepts that more than 80%, more than 90%, and some say even 100%, that the illnesses that are there are starting at the mind level, starting at the subtle level. They are psychosomatic. And the progression of science, the time that probably a lot of us studied medicine to where medicine is moving now, maybe not still in the main curriculum, but definitely in a lot of the research labs, is really, really interesting. So I'd like to just share with you little tips, little points about the science before we really move on to the topic. It is now completely accepted that we are living in an energy universe, that we are all energy beings. Earlier, the Newtonian physics, where it was matter is separate, energy is separate. Now, with Einstein really bringing this E is equal to mc square, energy and mass, they are completely interchangeable. Matter and energy are completely interchangeable. Really has shifted the whole dynamics. We now know that the body and the mind are not two separate things. First, the soul was completely something that they would not talk about in modern medicine. But now we know that all of these are really the same thing. The matter, the body is the more dense form, the mind is the more subtle form, and the soul is further more subtle. So we are all actually in, one person, and yes, we are sensing it in different ways at the different levels. So really going in the sensitivity, growing in the sensitivity as we start tapping more into the mind and the soul. So the also what has happened is that when all these the quantum studies have happened, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and even at the biology level, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's written the book of Biology of Belief, if you haven't read it, I would highly, highly recommend you to read it. All these fields of science have really come together. What we also realized is that whatever our thinking, whatever our energy is, our state of being is, that is really big way responsible in creating what is being created in our lives. So not only in the form of health, but the reality around us. So we are all really co-creators of our reality. I am just kind of stating some of these things because these are huge subjects in themselves, but just kind of bringing the essence of this science to you so that we can really deep dive into today's topic, which is the emotions. So, friends, as I started working, and I used to typically, for homeopathy, people would bring children because, yes, children have been given antibiotics. So then you see the side effect. Dr. Satyalakshmi was sharing the story of penicillin, right? Where Mahatma Gandhi didn't want to take that. Now, parents usually start first bringing their children to homeopaths because they realize that antibiotics have so much side effects. Now they no longer want to give the child that antibiotic. And that's how slowly the family starts to come to us. Now, observing the family dynamics, I started observing what were the kind of stressful things that were happening. Uh, During Gandhiji's time, when we hear about a lot of the struggles, we hear that the struggle was there, in the country, at the country level. But now a lot of the stress is there right in the family. with all the best intentions of creating harmonious relationships when people get married. A lot of the stress that was there was between the couples, between the child and the parents, where the parent had to go to work and they were trying to rush their children into, doing things in time, eating the right things. A lot of stress was just right there in everyday, day-to-day situations. So, what has really happened with us? Where has this stress started, and what has really happened at the level of emotions is what I want to first bring your awareness into as I started seeing it and then researching and reading further on it. So, as we all know, that as children, where we are in the womb, we are absorbing everything from the mother. The mother who we kind of know that it's so important for the mother to be happy so that the child really grows well. The child is just like a sponge inside the mother's womb. The child understands and absorbs everything. Now, how is this understanding? It's not like we will consciously remember everything. It's not like the child can think, but the child is absorbing the energy. When we see in terms of the brainwave patterns, the child is really in a delta state at that point in time, that state which we typically touch during very deep sleep, in the state of sleep when we don't have any dreams. So that is the state that the child is in, and this state is completely defenseless. The child is absorbing everything, and this energy that is being absorbed, so when the child also then is born, the child senses this is the energy. And emotions are nothing but energy. Emotions are energy in motion. This is the energy that is flowing through us. So the child is processing this energy, is taking in this energy, and is processing this energy. And as the child starts to grow up, starts to become a toddler, is already an infant feeling things. Toddler, they start kind of now recognizing that, oh, I can walk away from the mother. Now, they are still actually feeling things. They are still not able to think. Friends, the critical thinking, as the psychologists have identified, starts to develop between the age of 6 to 9 years. So, till that time, the child is really feeling, and whatever they're feeling, they're acting on that. So, the emotions form the basic blueprint. The thinking, the acting, and the decision making are going to develop later. And this is coming from John Bradshaw. He's a pioneer in inner child work. He's a psychologist who's done extensive work with people who have a lot of inner child wounds. So what they realize is that right from the beginning, the child is actually feeling things, right? Now the child has two gods in his life, right? They don't know any god. For the child, the god is the parents. They are the caretakers. So the child is actually looking at them for all their needs to be fulfilled. This child who is born is completely vulnerable, needs to be taken care of by the parents or the caretakers. And they're completely dependent on all their needs on the parents and on the caretakers. Not only are the needs physical, not only is it physical, food, nurturance, okay, bathing, cleaning, but a lot of this need is of love and of acceptance, of validation. So what happens is that when the child is feeling something, and at a later stage when they start thinking, when intuitions are coming, the child actually is looking at the parents for validation. If the parent, in their gestures, maybe with their eyes, with their words, they are okay, they are validating their emotions, that they're feeling that it's okay for the child to be feeling what they're feeling, the child feels validated. So it's this energy which is flowing, and when it's validated, it further helps them to develop, that they know that yes, they are doing fine, right? And it is helping in their development. However, when I started noticing, I realized that a lot of the times this is a very simple need which was not being met. For the simplest reason, because this has been there in our society. Let me tell you what is it that I commonly saw. So every parent actually wants their child to be happy, right? What they want is good. They really love the child. So they don't want the child to be sad. Now, if the child has something that the child wanted, and if that need was not met with, if the child is angry or sad, the parent feels, why are you sitting like that angry? What's the point in being angry? You have so many things. Look at other children. This is a very simple example that I'm sure all of us have heard, that you have much more than so many other people. There is no reason for you to be sad. There is no reason for you to be upset. Now, somewhere what we are doing is we are invalidating the child. We are saying that whatever you're feeling is really not right. Okay, let us understand really what happens. We are focused on the behavior of the child. The child being angry or child being sad for that moment actually starts triggering that unmet, that unprocessed feeling that we have. When we have not been allowed to be sad, or when we have not been allowed to be angry, we have these unprocessed emotions, unprocessed energy in us, which is the emotions, and that gets triggered. And somewhere we are scared that the child should not become like an angry person, the child should not become like a sad person. So we immediately try to say, no, this is not okay, you are not okay feeling this. So what we are actually focusing on, friends, here is the behavior. Whereas if you see the layers that are there, the feeling is a deeper layer, and the deeper layer further is the need. Every child has needs. When our needs are met, we are automatically going to feel good. When our feeling is good, when we are feeling good, we are automatically going to be behaving well, right? Now, in the other case, if our need is unmet, whatever that need may be, now that need may be big for the child. It may be that, I really wanted to go down and play. For the adult, it may be a small thing, but for the child, it's an important thing. Now, if this need is not met with, and if the child is sad, it is okay that the child will be sad for a little time. That's a very natural thing. And that may reflect on the behavior for a very short time. But because we are so focused just on the behavior and we don't actually pay attention to the feelings and needs, a lot of the cases, what happens is that we invalidate their needs. Now, this energy is going to be repressed somewhere because the child cannot think right now. The child is already feeling it. But when the parent is not happy with what they are feeling, this starts to set a confusion in the child. The child is feeling a particular way, and the child knows that this feeling is not right. Now they have to mask it because my gods are my parents. They have to be happy with me. They have to feel okay. If they are not feeling okay with me, there's something wrong with me. So somewhere the energy starts getting confused and split here, and this energy starts to get repressed. So this is really what starts to happen very early in our childhood, my dear friends. That, it's a very simple thing. When our needs are met, we are going to have pleasant feelings. We are going to be happy. We are going to be, very playful. It's just very natural that all of this is there. But when our needs are not met with, all the unpleasant feelings, be it anger, be it jealousy, be it sadness, all of that will be there. And these feelings, friends, this is emotion, this is energy. The feelings or emotions, we use it interchangeably. They are really transitory. The emotions, the energy just flows, right? So if we actually let the child be for a little time, the energy will shift by itself. The child will get okay in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maximum in half an hour. But it's important that we are okay and we let the child process that. Now, typically, the examples that I gave, that in so many households, we are not allowing the child to be, natural. If the child is unhappy, angry, we don't give them that space. We are too much in a hurry for them to become happy, right? What happens is that this confusion that I spoke about, because of that, this emotional brain, when I say emotional brain, typically it's the mammalian part of the brain. So we have the brain stem, which is the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, and then the thinking brain. The thinking brain early in childhood is still developing, it's not developed, whereas the emotional brain or the mammalian brain, which helps us to bond, which is developed. Now, this energy which is unprocessed starts getting blocked there, it starts getting clouded. And we stop actually connecting to our emotions, because somewhere the idea that we're getting from the parents is that no, I'm not supposed to feel these emotions are not okay. And now so much of the influence of the West is there. In West, it used to be like a rule, you sit on the dinner table, but you don't talk emotions. You talk all the intellectual stuff, but you're not okay to talk emotions. In India also, we used to say men can't cry, right? If they're crying, we would say, are you a girl? Right? So somewhere saying that indirectly, that emotions is a sign of weakness. Yeah, it's something. When we said a girl, it's almost like men are supposed to be strong and women are weak. So there's a lot of unconscious messaging that would go there. So we basically discourage them from feeling emotions. We say as if emotions are a sign of weakness, as if we were feeling them, that was not something that was okay. And this that starts getting clouded. Now, what really are emotions and feelings, and why is it that we are really even talking about it? Why is it that it is important? Now, this is the very first thing that has been given to us. This is our GPS system. When you have to take a decision, right? Very likely you first start feeling things. You feel this is right, you feel that this is wrong. We all have felt it. I'm sure when you go to a place, you know that, oh, the feeling here, the vibe here was something different, right? Now, this does not come from the thinking brain. This does not come from logic. We've all become very thinking beings, logical beings right now. But that feeling part, which is connected to the heart, this starts sensing. The heart chakra has actually the biggest uh, electromagnetic frequency. The area that it covers is really the biggest. So the first thing that happens is we start sensing it. We already know that this feels right, this doesn't feel right. The mind will take a little time to kind of say, okay, should I do this, should I not do that? But really the feelings are our GPS system. And it is our GPS system which is broken, which is somewhere gone bad when we have stopped connecting to our emotions. So this is something that has happened with most of us in our childhood. As I said, that for us, our parents are our gods. So in our households, in our societies, all the things that are accepted, the kind of behaviors, the kind of things that are accepted, the child kind of shows all of that. But a lot of things that are not accepted, they start going into the subconscious. The psychologist, I'm sure all of us are aware that the psychologists say that the subconscious and the unconscious makes 95% of us. What we see of ourselves typically and what we show of ourselves is just 5%. It's just the tip of the iceberg. And the 95%, where is it there? That's really there in our bodies. So now with the science, with the doctors and the psychologists, all the streams coming together, right? They're recognizing that this 95% really is in the body. The P and EI, the psycho, neuro, endocrino, immunology, this is a very common term right now, that when your immunity has dropped, it has started from the psychology, neurology, then endocrinology and immunology. So these are all really connected, and that starts to show at the body level. So when there is an illness at the body level, we also need to pay attention to these subtle elements, right? So this is something now that starts to happen with the child. Things start going in the subconscious or the unconscious. And these unresolved feelings, they are going to show up again and again for healing. When we say healing, the healing word, of course, we all know comes from the word whole. The person will be healed when we accept ourselves as the whole. So whatever is there in the unconscious, whatever is there in the 95%, that energy which was suppressed, which was repressed, those emotions which were not allowed to come up are going to show somewhere so that they can really be embraced. Carl Jung long back had said that unless and until we make the unconscious conscious, it is going to play up in our lives and we are going to call it destiny. So it is going to control our lives till we actually say, okay, I want to see it and I want to now look into it and really heal that, make it part of the whole, right? So how does it show up? Working with, I started, like as Amal said, that in the last 11 years, I started doing a lot of therapy. Working with families, working with couples. What I saw is that a lot of the unmet needs, we all had unmet needs of our childhood. So typically, because our parents were gods, we didn't realize that some needs were unmet. Some of this feeling was unprocessed. And what happened is we started seeing the problems only after we got married. Because suddenly now, after marriage, in our room was a person who was challenging what our reptilian brain had already learned is the normal way of life. Friends, the reptilian brain, which is the brain stem, it's called the reptilian brain because a part of us is like the reptiles. We learn things by repetition. We know this is how I like things. This is how I like to leave my towel. This is like how I like to do my bed. But now after marriage, there is this another person who is in my room who comes from a different background and who likes it differently. So for the first time, it looks like there's a problem in life, right? That there is something not right about life and it's because of this other person. So a lot of our reactions actually start coming out. A lot of our emotions will start really being shown. We think that this is really the problem. The marriage is where the problem started. And the psychologists again here identified that 90% of the issues that were coming between a couple were really problems belonging to our childhood, problems that started from with us, with our parents. They didn't really belong here. And that's the reason I think why even in our ancient cultures we said that a girl will typically marry her father and a boy will typically marry the mother, because unconsciously we are looking for that. We are looking for our needs to be met by our spouse. So we all have unmet needs. Where are those unmet needs? We don't know them. They're in the unconscious. So in a marriage, typically when we come, we don't even know about the needs, unmet needs, but we are hoping now this other person is going to really meet them. So of course, what happens is that there are a lot of reactions that start happening, right? And these days we know that there is another element that is added, right? So we spoke about how children need validation. We see on social media now so much of, everybody spending so much time really looking for validation right there. How many likes have I got? How many people are really liking my picture? So it's really this inner child who's looking for that validation still everywhere. So friends, the first sutra that I want to bring to your notice, we said that emotions are energy. What is it that we now need to do, right? So this is something that has happened. Very likely we are all in marriages already. Maybe we sometimes tend to, react also with our emotions. Our unmet needs come up. And why do they come up? Why do reactions happen? Because as a child, when our needs are not met with, we all have certain fears. We all have certain fears that my needs are not going to be met with. So when our partner behaves in a way that slightly gives us that hint that maybe he's trying to dominate me, just like my father did, or maybe this person is trying to really, breach my boundaries, or maybe this person, is not really giving me attention, just like my mother used to never give me attention. Somewhere our fear gets triggered and we react in that way. So first important sutra that we need to remind ourselves is that the energy cannot be destroyed or created. It can only be transformed. Now, when these emotions are energy that's there within us, which probably has not been validated, acknowledged, and it has been suppressed, repressed. What we need to do is we need to pay attention to it. We need to really become masters of it, right? So what we need to really learn is alchemy. Energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be transformed. So a lot of the fear that may be there, emotions which we term as negative, which are fear based. When we say fear based, we feel contracted, we feel not very nice. Whereas when we are feeling love, joy, compassion, we feel expanded, right? So in our body, there are just two kinds of emotions. One, the fear based, where the sympathetic nervous system will come into play, where we will feel like fight or flight. Maybe, we have to be scared of this person, we have to fight back. So we react or we go into a shell, right? So these negative emotions, when we first identify that they are there, only then can we transform them. This energy can be transformed. So first important thing is we have to become aware of it, we have to acknowledge it. And now that we have grown up, nobody else can do that for us. We have to say it's okay, there is nothing wrong with feeling this. Here I'd like to give you an example. Now typically all of us have heard that how anger, jealousy, sadness, all of these are emotions that we should not feel. So we have heard all of this. So the moment, now even if the parent is not there, the moment we feel any of that, we start criticizing ourselves, we start putting ourselves down. So I'll give you an example of one of the patients who came to me. She had lost her husband about 3 years back. And when she was with me and she was actually going through a little bit of counseling with me, she shared that she was feeling jealous looking at every happy couple that she saw. Every couple that she saw walking, she would feel jealous. And when I told her about this, that it's absolutely okay. Your feeling is nothing but it's telling you about a need. So what is the need underlying that? And she said, of course, I want now to be in a relationship again. I'm ready now for being in a relationship. She identified that. And when I just gave her this, this understanding that underlying every feeling is is a need, she could just suddenly feel so much better about herself. She said, every time I would see a couple, I would feel jealous, and automatically I was criticizing myself that what a bad person I am, that I'm feeling jealous seeing them. But it's obviously because I now am ready, right? So it's jealousy and envy, they're just kind of close to each other. She said, I obviously know that it's not like I'm wishing any bad for them, that I don't want them to be together. However, it's just that I want that for myself as well. So when you just identify, when you just validate it for yourself, somewhere that whole conflict within us really dissolves, and that repressed energy first starts to open up. And that's really the doorway of the emotional alchemy, that we recognize the need. We say it's absolutely okay. We recognize that need, and then maybe we can also make the effort to fulfill that need. So we transform this negative emotion, the fear-based emotion, into a positive emotion, into a love-based emotion. So this is how really we do that. And the first most important step for that, friends, is really the awareness, is to firstly acknowledge, look within, see what we are feeling. Like I said, that a lot of us have stopped paying attention. So we need to just make a practice to start paying attention. As also we spoke about how a lot of stuff has gone into the unconscious. There is a gap between actually how we are feeling and actually what we are showing to the world. So under what we may be showing to the world, right? If we are showing this, we may be actually feeling something different. And between these two hands, if you can see, there are these layers of emotions. These layers of emotions of unworthiness, anger, fear, shame, self-doubt, guilt. These are all these emotions that we felt as a child, and we were not allowed to express. They were not validated. When I said emotions are energy, so when they come and they were validated, and then what happens is typically the child would express it in whatever way. The child may have cried, may have shouted maybe for 5 minutes. it is expressed, that energy is out. But when that expression and that validation has not happened, these layers have gotten blocked and repressed. And now there's so much study where actually they have also said that cancers are a result of all the repressed anger. So a lot of illnesses, actually they are seeing what kind of emotions are really there undealt with, that are resulting in these kind of illnesses. So these layers of emotions that are there in us, we need to first start seeing it. Now we don't have to express it with anybody else outside. I'm not saying that we have to become emotional people, we have to start throwing our emotions on other people, but we have to start looking at it. That gap has to really start coming down, so that now we can start being authentic beings. And that is what really results in health. So meditation is a practice that really helps, because it's really when we close our eyes, when we sit without any triggers, we see that there's an internal story that's going on for all of us. There is an outer picture that's happening, and then there is an inner picture. So the awareness of the inner picture is so important. And when we are meditating, of course, the intention of meditation is also much more. But when we start spending time with ourselves, that's when we actually start seeing that so much is going on within us now, even without the trigger. The wife may no longer be there in our, in our room right now, but still that story against her, all that emotion against her is going on. The second sutra of energy is where your attention goes, your energy flows. So, and the third sutra is when what we give attention to grows. So, friends, a lot of the times when our parents said, don't be angry, don't be sad, somewhere it is because we all know that if we are giving too much energy, if a person is sad for a long time, right, that emotion that has happened at that time will go into a mood. When we start getting into that mood, that will slowly start becoming our personality, and that will slowly start becoming our destiny, right? So yes, there was a reason why they probably said that, but they did not very likely know how to handle it right at that point in time, because originally there is nothing wrong with the emotion. Yes, it's important that you don't carry that emotion, that moodiness, for a very long time. So we have to first start acknowledging the emotion. We have to allow ourselves to be really honest with ourselves, and we have to release a lot of repressed emotions that may be there, those layers that we may have accumulated. But in the long term, we need to also see that we don't give a lot of attention to all the negative things that have happened. A lot of people, as human beings, this thinking brain now, which is the crowning glory, which is what develops between the age of 6 to 9, that has tremendous capacity, because just by thinking of something bad that happened to me, I actually can start creating that emotion. Right now, that may be coming up because I need something to resolve there, but it's important that we learn to master our mind also, because otherwise I'm just going to create misery for myself. So I need to know where to really take my attention, so that I can really create a life of beauty for myself. So we have to know also these sutras, what we give attention to will grow. So the art of really paying attention to the emotion, validating and releasing it, but also to see now what I start giving attention to, that's extremely important. So emotional triggers, when something triggers us, we allow it to just come up, so that we are identifying what's really happening, what's my unmet need, and we understand that the person who's triggering it, it's like, when I squeeze an orange, only an orange juice can come out, mango juice cannot come out. When I'm squeezing a mango juice can come out. Now the person, we typically tend to say, he makes me angry, he's making me sad. So we need to really here see that these emotions, that energy is within me. Nobody can make me angry if that anger is not there in me. So the person outside is a trigger, I need to take responsibility for this energy that's there within me. So it's okay if the anger has come, that's telling me about some need. Maybe this person was disrespectful towards me. Now I recognize this need, and maybe I need to take action in a particular way. But this emotion is within me. I don't blame the other for this, right? So somewhere, if we just understand these principles, it's only by practice that we will start really mastering our emotion. If we let ourselves be for a short period of time, the anger automatically settles. There has been a research, so these triggers are our best teachers, because really they are showing to us all that within us needs our own love and acceptance and compassion. Our feelings and emotions are our responsibility. We need to pay attention. They tell us about our needs. We need to fulfill these needs and then shift to the elevated emotions. We don't blame the other people. So there's this study where they have shown that one choice to transform this emotion. If the 8 feelings, which may be the unpleasant feelings, if we just breathe at that time for 90 seconds. So I recognize I'm angry right now. If even without closing my eyes, if I just take a 90-second break and just be with the breath, I'm not going to then repress. I'm not going to, typically what causes repression, I say I have to divert my mind. That is what will cause repression. So when I'm being with the breath, I'm acknowledging the emotion, I'm paying attention to myself, I'm not running away, I'm not going shopping, I'm not calling up a friend and just diverting my attention. That energy will not get repressed. That energy can get processed in that much time. So that's an important thing. Here we've also put like a simple flow chart, how to work with feelings. The step 1, most important, is acknowledge and accept. It is okay if you're feeling jealous. It's okay if you're feeling angry. Once you do that, what is it that I need to do about it? You'll see the need, and do I need to take any action about it? Yes, take the action. But when you recognize there is no other action to be taken, we need to let go of that emotion. And we can use different ways, bringing yourself to 5 senses, to the breath, to meditate, to just go for a walk so that you can change your energy. These are some simple tools that you could use. And meditation definitely helps. Friends, because we already have finished the time, what I could do is journaling is something that helps, friends. If you can start paying attention and writing whatever that you're seeing. On our page, social media pages, friends, we have put a lot of recorded meditations. There is simple Anapanasati. That's a very simple way of meditating. Transforming emotions is also a recorded meditation that I have put. A number of other meditations. There's a meditation for kids as well. So do feel free to follow us and look at the meditations. Use the meditations whenever you need to. So thank you so much, my dear friends. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Before moving into the Q&A, we will just have a short session from Dr. Jyoti.
Yes.
He will have a talk in Hindi on vitality.
Yes.
Yeah.
नमस्ते। जैसे कि आप सभी जानते हैं, इस वर्ष प्राकृतिक चिकित्सा दिवस समारोह की संकल्पना प्राकृतिक चिकित्सा से जीवन शक्ति का या जीवन ऊर्जा का संवर्धन करना या पोषण करना यह है। हमारे पिछले कुछ सत्रों में हमने प्राकृतिक चिकित्सा के एक मूलभूत सिद्धांत, जिसे हम पंचमहाभौतिक सिद्धांत ऐसे कहते हैं, जिसके अनुसार हमारा शरीर पंचमहाभूतों से बना हुआ है। और हमारे लास्ट सत्र में हमने यह भी सीखा कि इन पंचमहाभूतों से हमारे शरीर का पोषण होता है, और हमने वायु तत्व और अग्नि तत्व के बारे में चर्चा की। अगला है जल तत्व। तो हम जल तत्व से अपने शरीर का पोषण कैसे करें? एक तो आपके दिन की शुरुआत कुछ घूंट पानी पीकर करें, जो आपके शरीर को हल्के से जगा देता है। दूसरा है बहुत ही स्वच्छ और जो है रसायन विरहित पानी पिए, और जिसकी वजह से आपकी जीवन ऊर्जा बहुत अच्छे से काम कर सके। तीसरा, समय-समय पर कुछ ताजगी देने वाले पानी से स्नान करें, जैसे कि नदियों में स्नान या झरनों में स्नान करना। और चौथा है, जल चिकित्सा के कुछ आरामदायक स्नान का आप अनुभव ले सकते हैं, जैसे कि कटी स्नान, मेरुदंड स्नान और इत्यादि। तो पानी जीवन का अमृत है और इसलिए ऐसे कहते हैं कि अन्य कई दवाओं की तुलना में हमारे शरीर की बीमारियों के लिए पानी सबसे बेहतर उपाय है। पानी आपके शरीर को अंदर से साफ करता है, शरीर के विषाक्त पदार्थों को निकाल देता है, आपकी शरीर की गर्मी, जलन, सूजन इस सब को कम करता है और वैसे ही आपकी नर्वस सिस्टम को मजबूत कर उसको आराम देता है। पानी ना कि सिर्फ आपके शरीर पर आपके दिमाग पर भी अच्छा असर डालता है। उसके तनाव कम करने वाले गुण आपको इंसान को शांति प्रदान कर सकते हैं। ताजगी देने वाले पानी में रहने से आपके अंदर अंतर्गत स्वास्थ्य की भावना को बढ़ावा मिलता है। इस तरह पानी हमारी जीवन ऊर्जा को बनाए रखने के लिए और हमारे स्वास्थ्य को बनाए रखने के लिए बेहद असरदार तरीके से काम करता है। तो आप किस तरह का पानी पीते हैं? क्या आप झरने का या कुएं का ताजा पानी पीते हैं या फिर आप बारिश का ताजा पानी पीते हैं या फिर आप बोतल बंद आरओ का पानी पीते हैं? या तो फिर आप नल का पानी पीते हैं जिसको कुछ रसायनों से जिस पर प्रक्रिया की होती है, या तो आप फिर आप बिल्कुल प्रदूषित पानी पीते हैं। इन सारे सवालों के जवाब आप जो पानी पी रहे हैं उसकी गुणवत्ता को आंकने में और फिर इस तरह के पानी के आपके जीवन ऊर्जा पर प्रभाव को आंकने में आपकी मदद कर सकते हैं। हम सभी को हमारा ये कर्तव्य, हमारी जिम्मेदारी है कि हम सभी को अपने शरीर की अंतर्गत सफाई को बनाए रखने का बेहतर प्रयास करना चाहिए। और जल तत्व पानी ही ऐसा तत्व है जो आपके शरीर को अंतर्गत रूप से शुद्ध बनाए रखता है और शरीर के विषाक्त पदार्थों को बाहर निकाल लेता है। और आज हम यही पानी के बारे में, जल तत्व के बारे में चर्चा समाप्त कर रहे हैं। हमारे अगले सत्र में हम पृथ्वी तत्व के बारे में चर्चा करेंगे, तो हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए। नमस्कार।
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jyoti. Yeah, first question is, a friend of mine is struggling to let go. How to let go?
Okay, I'm assuming let go certain emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's important that we first see the need behind it, right? Once we see the need that is there behind it, and if it can be fulfilled, then we look at that. That is when the let go can happen. Sometimes the feelings are against somebody else. So it's anger against somebody. So we are blaming somebody else for something. So it's important to really work on the forgiveness. Like I mentioned that so many times situations that we have actually landed up into with our friends, with our colleagues, with our partners, the needs that are there, where, for example, we feel that, oh, this person was really, I used to give so much love, but this person was really not reciprocating that. So this is coming out of our own unmet needs of love. Somewhere we felt that because if I give love, I will then get love. So out of that wanting love, we keep trying to take care of people. And typically it will happen, that's the nature's way, that we will not receive that kind of love. And this is happening not to us. We feel like a victim, but a lot of the times this is happening for us because we need to see that we have these wounds from childhood and we only can actually reach our own unconscious and heal them. So just if you pay attention, you will start looking deeper. You may also see certain patterns that are there. So with the other person, definitely it's forgiveness that's important. It is learning from these emotions, those situations that have happened. Even when we say that negative things have happened, it's important that we learn and let go. If we don't let go, it is like holding on to something, but that holding on, we feel that how can I let go, because otherwise the person will hurt me again. But if we are just holding on to it, that holding on is still giving us pain. So it is just that recognition that when we let go it, we will actually release a lot of our own energy. We will free ourselves. That is something that really helps. So I'm sure this is something that a lot of us have heard, but when you see it in your own life, that how you are hurting by holding on to it, that's what really helps.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So, in India, people don't understand the emotions. We understand emotions as incompetency. So, kindly
We
educate us with your
understand
views
emotions
on this
as,
statement.
yeah. So this is
Incompetency.
something like I mentioned in the talk, that there's a lot of unconscious messaging that has gone in, where we said, if you're crying, are you a girl? What does being a girl imply? That you're weak. So if having emotions is a sign of weakness. So somewhere this incompetency and all of it is just coming from a lot of conditioning which is unconscious. Just by really bringing it to light, you can actually stop living in that way. It has to stop mattering to you. The change can happen one person at a time. Now, yes, in the society these things have been there, and in the society also things are changing, but the change has to first happen at an individual level. Each of us from within have to change. So the day that you see that it's okay to for me to just pay attention to my emotions, that change has started to happen in your house. So you first start doing that, and slowly as you start getting comfortable, when we start talking about emotions, we are saying that I'm okay to be vulnerable, right? It's okay for us to even cry in front of somebody. When we start actually opening, we're really giving the permission for the other also to do that, to have honest conversations, to talk about feelings, and really having these kind of circles, that will also really help. So when you have a couple of friends that you can talk to, when you can share and you can hold the space for them so that they can honestly acknowledge whatever that they're feeling without necessarily getting an advice. Typically we feel so uncomfortable when somebody is talking about emotion. We immediately want to give an advice, or when a friend calls you and says, oh, I'm not feeling very good, we say, oh, let's go shopping or let's go for a movie. It's almost like I want to distract you, I don't want you to be with your emotions. So these are unconscious ways, and if you start catching yourself how you are actually distracting yourself, that will be a very good step also for you to take.
Yeah. What is the correct meaning of healing?
Healing is that we are integrating that energy within us. Like I said, that if we take it very simply, whenever there's pain, our breath stops. When we go to take an injection, we are just anticipating the pain. The doctor tells you, okay, breathe deeply. Why? Because we have held on that part tightly, the breathing has stopped. So the energy has stopped flowing. Now, whenever there is anything unpleasant, right? Now, if we were feeling sad and then the parent is not okay, it's almost like there is something that energy has stopped flowing. So there is an energy blockages that have formed there. We have this technique called as rebirthing breath work, where we just kind of breathing in a particular way and we release so much just with breathing a particular way. So when we say healing, what we're really doing is that energy that has been blocked away, again a part of our vitality is blocked away, we are really integrating that energy. So we are actually supposed to be a whole, right? We should not have been divided, that oh, this is allowed and this is not allowed, these parts of you are okay to show and these are not okay to show. If we see in nature, everything else is just so natural. The trees are as they are, the birds are as they are. It's with human beings that we need to actually move towards becoming the whole, that we are actually, the way that we are born, the conscious and the subconscious is separated. So we really become that integrated whole person, and that's really what healing is. So it's a complete journey. It's a journey that's an ongoing journey. The vitality keeps getting better as we are also taking the journey from this perspective, that we're really also integrating and accepting everything that's there in the unconscious.
I think Gandhiji's one of quote also connect to this. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do is in harmony.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. There is another question. How to control overthinking?
Meditation is a very good way, because what we are doing when we are meditating is, see, otherwise our mind is, we are coming from monkeys, right? So our thinking mind is like a monkey mind. It jumps from the past to the future. That's its nature. But that's a tool that we have been given. Now, typically, when we are not meditating, this tool has become the master. So it's taking us wherever it wants to. Now, when we start meditating, we are telling the brain, the mind, that okay, you come and sit at one place, right? And so from so many things, we are making it come to one place, and then it starts to go into a no mind state, where we start connecting to the subtle part, the soul part, if you want to call it that, right? So somewhere this training, that we start bringing it to one thing, we're basically telling the tool, telling the servant that the master is here. Otherwise, the servant is thinking, I'm the master, I can take and go wherever that I want to go. So that training is what is important. So practicing meditation every day, and ideal time is the number of minutes your age. So if you're 50 years old, 50 minutes a day is something that is really advisable.
Yeah, ma'am. So let's wind up today. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah. See you all
Thank you, viewers.
tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.